Hi everyone, Tanya Hertz here. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about the Rec Innovation Lab and the Gazelle Path program, and talk to you about the steps that we go through in the Gazelle Path in order to validate our assumptions and to test our hypotheses. It's essentially the lean methodology that we're following. And it's a little different because we're no longer able to go test these assumptions face to face with our customers right now. And so we have to do things a little bit differently, but there are ways around it and there are effective solutions. And so we'll talk about those here. There's typically 5 traditional phases in the lean methodology. And it's an iterative process wherein we test our assumptions, we have guesses about whether or not customers are experiencing the problem that we think they're experiencing. We have guesses about whether or not they'll pay and how to reach those customers, and who those customers even are, right? And so guesses aren't good enough. The process before was guessing, either guessing or just going into it blind and hoping that we got it right. But neither one of those approaches are very good. I know that most of you have now all read the Lean Startup, and that's a good place to start. This is a process that works, and so we'll go through this process in order of riskiness. And most of us are at the very beginning stage of the process, which is the customer discovery process. And this is testing the problem, right? Because customers don't buy products or services. Customers buy solutions to problems that they're experiencing. And so every successful business needs to solve a problem for those customers, and we need to make sure that we're hitting the nail on the head and getting to the crux of the problem, and we're doing it for the right group of people. We don't ever want to say we're solving a problem for everyone. Our market is everyone. That just means you're going to be doing what you do probably poorly. It's better to focus in on a very narrow, clearly defined subset of the population that is truly experiencing the problem right now and looking for a solution, and becoming experts, really getting to know what we're doing inside and out, and then we can duplicate it and we can grow, and we could essentially eventually reach other subsets of the population. So a lot of you right now are in the G1, the Gazelle Path 1 phase, which is the problem testing, right? So these are the assumptions that you are validating during this phase, or attempting to validate that the people are already trying to solve the problem. They know what it is, and that the emotions that they experience when they're facing that problem, and you know how they're currently solving the problem, which is your competitors. So I'll put more videos in here for you about each of the phases. I have several more on the problem testing phase right now to put in, and then we'll go through and do the rest. But not all of you are in that problem testing phase. Some of you have moved well past that, especially those of you who are coming back to the Rec Innovation Lab after going through a traditional incubator or accelerator or entrepreneurship program. And so you're at different phases. Maybe you're testing the offer, right? Where you're actually offering your product or service to your customers, the channels, the market channels, whether or not they'll pay you, right? The payment, G3 testing. G4 is the solution testing, where where you're essentially testing, this is our beta usually, where we're testing our business idea, usually on a very small scale. You don't want to automate at this point. There's usually 2 MVPs that we build in this stage. We can either build a concierge MVP or it's sometimes called Pretendo type. It's sometimes called a Wizard of Oz MVP, where we essentially, well, we act like it's automated, but it's not. There's usually somebody behind the scenes doing things. And I'll talk about all of these in detail, but what you need to know is that for each of the different phases of the process, there are different MVPs to build to test our assumptions, or experiments to run. Right now, your experiment is the customer discovery, the problem interviews. Next, you'll be perhaps you'll be building a landing page, or there's many other things that you can do as you go through, and I will talk with you about each of the different phases as we go through. But you need to identify right now where you are in that path so that you can communicate that with your mentors and advisors. I've been making introductions to various mentors and advisors. You don't just have one mentor, you have many, and this will go on throughout the course, the remainder of our time together. We do have a little bit of an extension on the cohort, so we're not going to end at the end of May. We're going to go through at least to the middle of June, and that's when we'll be doing our pitch competition, where we have lots of prizes and amazing judges. We so far have we have 11 investors, angel investors, who want to be involved with the judging for your pitches, which I think is amazing, because there's then the possibility that they will they'll give you money. They'll fund some of these ideas. And you know that the San Diego Angel Conference has offered to pay for one of the teams to go for the application fee for 2021. We also have judges from San Diego State University, from the Zip Launchpad, and they're going to be looking at the pitches for anybody who's going to be transferring over there. We have a lot of cool judges, cool prizes, and good things happening. So you need to figure out where you are in the path, and then you need to be working with your mentor or advisors on getting through that phase, right? Whatever that phase is, and validating the assumptions in each of the individual phases. Do not rely on the advisors and mentors to tell you what to do. You are the one driving the bus, and you decide where it goes and how fast or how slowly it goes. And so nobody's going to do it for you, not even me. I want you to do well, but it's ultimately your company. And so you need to make sure that you're doing what it takes to be successful. Now, the process, the lean startup process, is really about, it's heavily reliant on face-to-face communication. I would much rather see you give me 20 amazing interviews where you really got to the crux of the problem, and you spoke to the potential customer, user, buyer at length, and you really went through the process. I would rather see 20 of those any day rather than 1,000 even well-written surveys online. The surveys are great to give you data, but they're not enough. They don't give you enough really good qualitative information, and that's what you need when you first start a company. And that means usually you need to meet with people face to face, right? You need to have a network, and you need to go out and hit the streets and talk to people and get out of the building. They always say, well, we can't get out of the building. We're sequestered. We're stuck at home. We're literally, by law, required to not get out of the building. So what does that mean for us as entrepreneurs? Well, that means we need to get out of the big building figuratively. And so we need as broad and diverse a social network as possible. And the way that we're going to do that, if you haven't noticed, I have been pushing you like crazy to build up your LinkedIn profiles. And it's not just because I'm cruel. I really think that this is going to be the way around the problem of social distancing and the sequestration orders. So make sure your LinkedIn is good. Your LinkedIn profile is robust, it's complete, it's impressive, that there's a photo of you that is in professional attire, that you have detailed description of your job duties in the description section in the experiences. Make sure that there are media samples. Now, they don't have to be media, but they call them media. It's just so that there's evidence of your work. We want to see that you have, maybe that's just links to other websites that, for which you've done some sort of volunteer work, or maybe that's samples of some paper that you're particularly proud of, or some marketing plan or project or something like this. Put that in there, right? Make sure that you put the affiliation with the Rec Innovation Lab, right? People who are considering whether or not they want to work with you will look you up on LinkedIn. It's one of the first things that entrepreneurs do. Therefore, we need to make sure that you have legitimacy by having that affiliation with us, and then put it in the experience section or the education. It's up to you. I think it looks better in the experience section, and then you list the rec as an employer, right? When they'll ask what company did you work for, but then when you're picking your job title, you can choose entrepreneur, you can put startup founder. Don't put founder itself, because then it looks like you founded the rec, which is kind of odd. So make sure to, if you can, clarify a little bit. Most people will get it, but definitely put that in there. And then, put your company, put your startup. That should be in there, like no brainer there, right? If you're starting a company that makes shoes out of beach waste, you better put that shoe out of beach waste business there as your experience. I don't care that the company's not yet started. You should still have that in there now. And it's not that it's dishonest. You can say it's in progress and, launching this company or exploring the launch, but don't not put it, not to use double negative, sorry, but you must put that. I have seen so many times, I actually did this today, where I thought that an entrepreneur was no longer pursuing an opportunity because I didn't see it in there. And then turns out he just wasn't doing a good job keeping up on his LinkedIn. So don't let that happen to you. Once you're in there, find connections, connect with every single person in the rec, every other one of your cohorts, every team. You can find that information about the teams. It's in Slack. If you go into Slack, you can see that the team information is somewhere in here. I'm in the wrong section. Sorry about that. In the general section, I believe. Yep. The team information is in here, and it is somewhere around here. There it is, team basic information. You can, here you'll see everybody's names, their company names. Also, you should be updating this if you change anything. For example, if you change your pitch, your one-line pitch, change that there. If you have a new video that you want to put, and when we get our new videos recorded, you can put those there. I'd like us to actually start putting in our company websites over here. And then this is a list of all the companies that are going through the rec with you. And please lean on each other, rely on each other. We're there. Hopefully we'll be all there for each other. Connect with all of these people. Here, their names and the team members' names are there. I'm trying to add in the additional team members as you get them. So if you get a new team member on your team, please put it in for me so that I don't get too far behind, so we can all connect with one another on LinkedIn. Go back to the slides. After you've found those connections, you've connected with the rec teams, connected with everybody at your school, everybody at your place of employment, all of the mentors and advisors that you find in Slack, students from other classes. Then the next step in the process is you're going to want to use those connections to establish legitimacy, to promote your brand, to help you when you need something done. I want you to ask each other for things. I don't want you to go it alone. If you need to conduct some research on if you're doing your problem interviews and you need 50 whatever it is, people who ride bicycles, ask, put it in Slack. Do you guys know anyone who rides bicycles? Put me in touch with them because I need to do my problem interviews. Put it in LinkedIn. Reach out with one another. If you don't have enough of a team, and we heard from the angel investors how important it is to found a company with a team with similar values and diverse skills, knowledge, abilities, then and you don't have a team, you need to get one, right? You definitely need to get one. So reach out to people on LinkedIn, reach out to people in Slack, reach out to each other. Also on that basic information sheet that you see here, there's also another page of all of the students who were considering potentially joining another team, right? And that's here, there. We also have some information on the advisors here. And these are going to be the advisors who have listed their information as open to just to us, to the rec students. So that's not open to everyone, but if you want to reach out to them, that information is there. All right, moving back. And then, so use those connections that you've made, make those introductions, make sure that you are connecting with me, connecting with the rec, with all of this, and then use those connections to test your assumptions, both through surveys and through virtual meetings. And I'll talk about that in one of the videos that I'm posting here in just a bit. Rely on reciprocity. Help each other out, right? I will help you if you will help me. Give each other feedback on Zoom. You know, pat each other on the back. Comment on each other's posts. The more that we have, the more we'll get. So that's really that abundance versus scarcity mindset in business. And I'm a firm believer in the abundance mindset. When I get more as a team let's say I'm a team in the rec, when I get more resources, it doesn't take resources away from the other people. It makes more resources for the other people because it brings attention, it brings money, it brings better mentors, more, more resources. So keep that mindset in business. Very often what we used to think of as potential competitors, now we're realizing that most of those potential competitors are actually, could be partners, could be allies, could be strategic alliances rather than enemies. So I hope you can keep that mindset and really lean on one another and help each other to succeed here. Make sure that you're meeting with your advisors regularly. That's up to you to set that up. I am available to meet with you also weekly. There's short little meetings, but it's just because there's so many that I couldn't do very much more. But if you need more, let me know. Check in, just say hello. Happy to see your smiling faces. You'll want to be testing your assumptions. You'll want to be gathering your data. You'll be building your business model canvases. A lot of the next steps for resources will not be available to you until you can show or prove that you have validated some of those initial assumptions, like who are your early adopters. It's a big one, right? The branding team is, they're getting going on those meetings. Take advantage of them. We have that tech support. A lot of you have already had apps built, and so many cool things happening with that. So I hope all of you will take advantage. Those of you who aren't quite there yet, it might be just because you haven't gone through the customer discovery process. And so that might be why you haven't had, we don't want to waste our time building something that doesn't need to be built. It's not the time for it, but you can get those interviews done quick and then we move on to the next one. So I encourage you to do that. Make sure also that you are going to the workshops as much as possible. You see how good they are. Me as well. They're fun. You never know what's going to happen. Is Ryan Vancher, who I really loved his outlook. I've seen for years the way he says yes to everything. And I've noticed that for a lot of entrepreneurs, just showing up is enough to win. Sometimes that's all it takes is the one who's actually there when nobody else shows up. Those are the ones that win. Those are the ones that meet that meet the entrepreneur that takes them to the next level. And yeah, so show up, be there. Oh, start working on your pitch deck too. You don't have a lot of time. Our pitch competition, like I said, mid-June it looks like, and I'll give you the format that we're looking for the pitch competition. It's a short pitch competition. It's virtual. Everything's virtual, and we are going to be recording our pitch competition, but then also having that live component for for the team. So we'll talk about the details of that later. But start building that. Start putting it together, so that you're not totally taken by surprise with that. And if you need me, contact me. I'm here for you. I'm really proud of everything that you're accomplishing, and I'm here to help. So let me know how I can help. If anything ever slips through the cracks, it's not intentional. It's just that maybe I had a little too much on my plate, and I apologize for that. We'll get to a nice balance here soon, I hope. And remind me, my feelings won't be hurt. Send me a text. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me quickly. If you send me an email, give me time to respond. All right, we will see you all soon, and I will post the next videos here shortly. Take care. Bye.